Well, I think we can begin the meeting. It is noon, and we like to start right on time because when it's 85 degrees, we want to get out of here as soon as we can. And
Terry wants to get on his boat.
well, that's the truth. Well, that's the truth. We all need some therapy if we're going to sit here longer. But anyway, we'll begin with an introduction. We'll start with John Kleinaxel right over here.
John Kleinaxel, Adams County Road Commission.
Tyler Kent, Transportation Planner, MDOT Grand Region.
Jeff Renton, Transportation Planner Supervisor, State Highway Police.
And he's the new,
Tom,
there you go, Judy Fisher from the MACC.
Russ Tassan with MACC Authority Board.
Kendall Weir, Fillmore Township.
Joe Bauman, Ottawa County Board of Commissioners.
Linda Howell, Lake Township.
Tom Bird, Ottawa Road Commission.
Ethan East, City of Holland.
Howard Bauman, Port Sheldon Township. Tom Unk, Zeeland Township.
Tyler Kent with the MACC.
Terry Nienhuis, Holland Township.
Kevin Kleinstra, City of Zeeland.
Kelly Goward with the MACC.
Mark Van Logo with the Holland Temple. And Anton Shower, Transportation Planner with the MACC.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move then to the approval of the minutes of June 7th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Support. Kevin?
Support Tom.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. We'll move then to public comments. Is there anyone here that wishes to make a comment under public comments at this particular point in time? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll move then right along to the environmental program, and Kelly is ready to go for that. Thanks, Kelly.
I am, thank you. So I have just some general updates to run through, nothing specifically called out on the agenda, just a lot going on that I wanted to provide some brief updates. So some updates on grant applications. So this is kind of some follow-up on some applications that we had submitted previously and then some that we're working on now. So I am pleased to announce that we did receive one that we submitted to the Eagle Watershed Council Support Grant. This is a new program this year, and it's just under $50,000, and this is really to support getting engineered designs for the Tulip Intercounty Drain Restoration Project. We've been trying to get funding for this project for several years now, 3 years at least. So one of the concerns with Eagle funding the project was, the design. Is it going to be able to work the way that we want it to do? So we were able to get funding to support, putting that design together, and then hopefully the next step will be being able to secure funding to actually do the construction of the project. This grant will also support some staff time as we work on the Sustainable Watershed Funding Initiative. That's that statewide initiative we've been working on within the region with the Grand Valley Metro Council and the West Michigan Shoreline Regional Development Commission. So we are starting to kind of move that forward, and I will plan on providing some updates on that project at a future meeting. A couple other grant applications. We had submitted an application to the Eagle Watershed Planning Grant to support the update of the watershed management plan. We were not successful in securing that. We do have 2 other grants still pending that we had anticipated using to support the update of the watershed management plan. So those are still in process through the Michigan Coastal Management Program and then the Midwest Glacial Lakes Program. We should be hearing hopefully very soon on at least the Coastal Management Program. The Midwest Glacial Lakes, that wouldn't start till next spring, so we've got a little bit longer to wait on that one. And then currently we are looking at putting 2 new applications together to the EPA's Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. One would be to fund that Tulip Intercounty Drain restoration. They have a category specifically for riparian restoration, and so this project really seems to fit well within that category. And then also looking to do some additional green stormwater infrastructure, in particular working with Holland Public Schools. So we're getting all the pieces together on that. The grant applications are due August 20, so at next month's meeting I will provide more details about those applications. Any questions about grant applications?
Kelly, when you say we, who is specific we? are you talking about? Is it ODC? Is it some other local government agencies on some of these grant applications?
Right, so I guess it's different for each one. So the Watershed Council Support Grant, that is working particularly with the Ottawa County Water Resource Commissioner's Office, since it's an inter-county drain, so it's both Ottawa and Allegan County. But the Ottawa County Water Resource Commissioner's Office has already signed a contract with Fishback to do the work. So Fishback and Ottawa County are partners on that grant. And then the coastal management and the Glacial Lakes program, it was the MACC and the Outdoor Discovery Center partners on that. And then the Glacial Lakes program grant in particular, Fishback was also a partner on that to do some of the significant stream assessment work. And then with the GLRI applications, again with the Tulip Intercounty Drain, we'll have both county drain offices as partners on those grants. And that grant would probably be submitted under Ottawa County's name. It won't be under the MACC's name, because they will be the ones to hire the contractor and pay for all the work to be done, so it just makes sense to be in their name. And then on the Green Stormwater Grant, we're really not far enough along in that. Probably that will be submitted under ODC Network, but we're still working out the details there. So over the last couple of months since we last met, we have had some community events. It's been really great to get back in person and get out in the community and talk to people about the work that we do. So just a few that we were able to do this year. In June 15 and 17, we were part of the Ready for School events. So the MACC, through the Community Enhancement Program, actually helped fund that program so they could buy the materials to give out to the kids. So they invited us to have an activity there as well. So I did a litter fishing game to go along with our litter reduction education and a trash-free waters grant. And then as part of the trash-free waters grant, we co-hosted a river cleanup at Ottawa Sands, which is up in the kind of Grand Haven, Ferrysburg area. So that was a joint effort between Ottawa County Parks, the MACC, the ODC Network, and Elgro as part of their spring forum. So it was really great to have so many partners come together and under the trash-free waters grant that the MACC currently has. And then I've been working with Hope College. They have a grant through NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, to do some watershed education, and specifically watershed science camps. So we worked over the past, over the kind of the fall and winter to plan the material for these camps. So we had a watershed camp for teachers that only a few teachers participated in, but I gave them a lot of information about watersheds, and the point of the camp was to get teachers comfortable with the concepts and working with kids outside, like actually taking water samples and processing them, soil samples, those sorts of things. And then there was also a watershed camp for middle school students, where kind of that lower right picture there, I was able to arrange a tour for the students out at Dykey's Farm. So they got to get on a farm and learn about farming processes, both kind of on the operational side of things and then also on the conservation side of things. And then the Macatawa Water Festival was last weekend, July 17. Very successful event. I didn't hear what a final kind of crowd count was, but it was pretty steady most of the day. It was a gorgeous day for the festival. We kind of spread out instead of we're huddled under tents together, so we could kind of keep people spread out and socially distanced. But I would say it was kind of on par with the 2019 and previous events in terms of the crowd and certainly the number of activities, the partners that were involved. It was a very successful event. And then the last couple of things, I wanted to just provide some reminders, and you do have handouts at your place setting. One for the August 19 West Michigan Green Stormwater Infrastructure Seminar we're hosting at the Holland Civic Center. Last year we went virtual, so 2 years ago in 2019 we were at the Civic Center. So we're looking forward to having that in-person event again. So what you actually have is the registration form, so if you want to fill that out and give it to me, we'll just send you a bill. And if you, I have sent it out via email, but if you would like hard copies of that form, or you would like me to, send it to specific people, let me know, and we'll get that distributed. We will be doing some additional kind of advertising pushes on that. And there is also a virtual attendance option still available for that. And then on August 26th, we're bringing back a farm field day, cultivating resilience. So you have a postcard at your place setting for that. So that is, we held the first one in 2019 in partnership with NRCS and then the Ottawa and Allegan Conservation Districts and ODC Network. So we put together a fairly similar program, kind of in scope. We'll have some hands-on demonstrations and some really good talks about, incorporating conservation and adding resiliency into farm operations. And so that is a free event, but you do need to register because we are having box lunches. It'll be very similar to what you're eating today, actually. So if you're interested in either one of those events, you do need to register. There is a fee for the Green Infrastructure Seminar, but the field day is free. Any questions about any events or activities?
All right, thank you very much, Kelly. We'll move then to item number 4, which is the transportation program. Anton?
So we'll start off with TIP 2020-23 Transportation Improvement Program amendments here. So if you look on your table, you should have a sheet just like you see up on the screen here. So many of these amendments this month, specifically rows 1 through 8, were discussed at the last policy board meeting and were approved. We just want to bring these again to you for confirmation that the breakdown is correct and everything looks good before we enter into JobNet. So these were the 4 projects listed up on the screen for the funding of the HIP Highway Infrastructure Program and HIP COVID relief funds. So on the screen here you can see the sort of the breakdown adding up to about $772,000. So we'll kind of go into each one here. So if you look at lines 1 and 2, that is our East 40th Street project reconstruction between Industrial and US 31. We're adding $180,000 of federal funds to that project, so you can see the before and after there. Moving on to the line items 3 and 4, that's the new project Lakewood Boulevard, and that's $400,000 of federal funds going into that project there. Looking at lines 5 and 6, that is the Waverly dual left turn lanes at M40. We're adding $32,127 of federal funds there, and as you can see, there's also cost increase of $75,000. Looking at lines 7 and 8, 136th Avenue between 58th Street and 50th Street down in Allegan County. Please note that these aren't actually amendments, but just simply administrative modifications. We just wanted to bring this to your attention as it was part of the HIP COVID relief funding that we talked about last week. So just for comprehensive purposes, that's how that will look. We're adding $160,000 there for federal funds. And then last but not least is a new TIP amendment. This is CSX Railroad here in Zeeland Township at 64th Avenue. As you can tell, so this is a new phase. We're adding $15,000, $13,500 of that federal funds, and $1,500 local. So that's where that is coming from. So yep, that's all I have for TIP amendments this month. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
If there are no further questions, then we need a motion then to approve. Is that supported?
Tom.
Is that supported?
Support.
John? John?
John.
Klein Axel.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Thanks, Anton.
Absolutely. And moving on, this is, so I wanted to let the board know of some upcoming plans and programs that the MACC will be undertaking soon. Ignore the typo. I meant to say 2023 to 2026 TIP amendment. We've already done the 2020 to 23. But looking at the upcoming TIP, these run for a 3-year cycle. And actually starting next month, we'll be sending out a call for projects to the local agencies. And they will have sort of throughout the month of August and September to compile the projects that they'd like to submit for consideration, which will be due October 1st. And moving further into the fall, that's when the project selection process will begin on the MACC end, and we will be submitting those into JobNet as well. And then looking into next calendar year, in February, the draft project list will come to the TAC and to the policy board for approval, and it needs to demonstrate fiscal constraints, so just basically that the amount of funds that we expect to receive are in line with what we're hoping to afford. And then in spring of 2022, we'll be looking at some sort of some analyses and reviews, specifically environmental justice analysis and air quality review, as well as just obviously the general development of the document and everything else that goes along with it. So come May of 2022, the document will be voted for approval at the TAC meeting, and then to your approval in June. So just wanted to kind of let you know on how that is going to transpire. But any questions on the next tip?
I guess I have one comment. Not knowing what the next transportation bill is going to look like with President Biden, pushing the infrastructure end of the budget, may make sense as part of that tip to really take a look at some very larger projects and maybe put those into the illustrative list, so that if and when funding does happen, we're already set in place and ready to go, rock and roll, and not have to go through this process again. We can already vent that process with those projects so that it's those funds are fully available and projects are ready to go. Jeff, Tyler, I don't know, do you have any additional comments on that? I mean, have you guys heard whether or not, what the budget may be? I'm hearing 3.5 trillion. I don't know if that's still on the table or not.
I think 3.5 includes more than kind of the traditional transportation.
Right.
I think transportation itself is probably close to $1 trillion, and then of that you got to take off a certain amount for kind of other transportation related components to it. But kind of the traditional highway, roadways, and non-motorized, I think we're kind of looking at probably in the 800 billion, somewhere around there, less than $1 trillion. But that's highly skeptical. So,
yeah.
Subject to change. I don't know, Jeff, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm still skeptical about it.
Well, if it happens, we'd have projects available.
Have an illustrative list.
Yeah.
You are doing what other MPOs are proposing to do by submitting all of the projects that you'd like to see funded, put them on an illustrative list, and should it happen, perfect.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
From a workflow process, and probably maybe a question for you, with the partners that you coordinate from all of our agencies and everything, creating a kind of a back pocket, illustrative list, we're probably in pretty good shape to be able to pull those together and have those ready to go, or is that like a significant amount of work to prepare those that creates its own set of problems?
It's a good point, or a good question, I should say. The process is much different here than what I'm used to, so I can't speak to sort of how set in stone that sort of those projects are and how much work will go into sort of that illustrative list. But you know, I can certainly look into it a little bit more and get a better answer for you soon. I'm still trying to figure out sort of the how the call for projects will work, but and I don't know if MDOT has any additional comments as you've gone through a few tip cycles before.
Maybe just, you know, one suggestion from my experience, not that I have a ton of it, is sometimes that locals, you know, including MDOT too, in that is we'll have kind of projects we know we can't do in the next couple of years for funding, but we know we'll do them in the later years. So that's kind of our illustrative list is, should something like this become available, we advance those projects still into outer years essentially. So that, I mean, that's a route you can take. Another route is, you know, depending on the type of project. You know, there's some that might be, you know, in concert with other work like stormwater or things like that to consider as well. So that's, you know, it's really up to this group and the local agencies because, you know, in the end it will be reviewed by this committee and approved. I think your biggest hurdle would be if you're ready, you know, not you, but the agency itself is ready with their local funds to move forward in the process when you're using federal aid, because there are certain milestones you have to hit, certain, you know, targets you have to meet as well when using federal aid. And, you know, if it's earlier in the fiscal year, I know we're talking 2023 now, if we're doing a project in 2023, you want to make sure that your local match is there and in place and that, you know, your plan set's ready for, you know, ready to move forward, things like that.
But I think it's also important to have good communication between the local agencies. So if one agency is falling behind, maybe another project you can shift those dollars between years so that both projects can be completed. But just maybe just shift, right?
Further tip.
Yeah, right. Or it can be within the same tip year. Maybe one project is going to be funded in 2025, one scheduled to be in 26. You just flip those two projects so that nothing's delayed.
I know procedurally that's how I've done it in different locations and here, so I would suspect that probably everyone's more than ready. I know we're ready, we have an idea of what our next projects will be, so.
Sure, okay. And that's,
We'll provide you with that,
okay.
I'm sure Brian will be right on top of it.
I'm sure he will. That sounds good. Appreciate it. Any other questions on the upcoming tip? Great, and real quickly, I'd like to just move on to the 2050 long-range plan. There should be another sheet in front of you, just a basic calendar. So although the 2045 long-range plan was completed not too long ago, we are technically kicking off our 2050 LRTP development, specifically the socioeconomic data portion of it. And this kind of fits into the travel model that MDOT will be kind of taking hold of and really kind of moving forward. But we, as you can tell in the calendar here, it's really going to be MDOT and the NPO working together at the beginning of January, or I should say 2022. Where we're going to be sort of reviewing that socioeconomic data. We're just going to be making sure everything looks good for the model. And then once that's approved around March, April, we'll kind of take a hiatus from the 2050 LRTP development and pick it up really a year, maybe a year and a half after that point. So although it seems strange to be talking about the next LRTP, even though it's just been completed, just note that this is sort of a small sort of subsection of it, and then it'll quiet back down. But that's kind of what to expect in terms of the 2050 LRTP. So any questions on that? And if not, I will hand it over to just MDOT general comments.
Right.
Thanks, Anton.
Yep.
So again, Tyler can't have that, those are not, there are two of them, but a couple of things just that I'm aware of, and then I'm going to hand it off to a couple other MDOTers here. Regarding projects this year, Mark Frederickson wasn't able to make it today, for Muskegon TSC manager, but he said the work between Saugatuck and basically M40, we're looking to flip the bounds of where the travel is, so I think, and I might get these directions wrong, but if they're one way or the other, but I think southbound will be pushed onto the northbound side, and there'll be 2 lanes of traffic on the northbound side. first northbound being on the southbound side. So, in addition, we're also getting ready to widen the shoulders, do some MOT work for I-196 between basically Byron Road, northeast to Hudsonville. So you'll see some, barrels going up there. It's mostly off the roadway, but it's gearing up for the big reconstruction project next year, which will have the kind of the same concept as we have this year with I-196 close to Saugatuck, where you have 2 lanes of traffic on the one bound. Essentially, we'll reconstruct that. A couple other things to note too. Tis the season for plans and studies and public comments. We got quite a few of them out there for public review. One in particular is the MDOT annual 5-year transportation program. That's a state legislator or legislative mandate to MDOT develops a 5-year program. This project, so basically, take off the first year and add on another year to our existing program. That is out there for public comment, public review. Anton, and I've talked with Anton. We got a couple of links out there we can provide after this meeting as well. In addition, there's also another effort going on, which I'm peripherally involved in, but to be aware of as we get closer to the public stakeholder outreach is what we call the tolling feasibility study. In 2020, the state legislature, and it was passed by the executive branch, approved or required MDOT to assess tolling feasibility in Michigan. And that study is over 2.5 years. MDOT is not really too far along in the report, but it is continuing. I would expect later this fall there will be more of a public outreach to talk about what the findings are, if it's even feasible, and if it is feasible, what routes might make sense. But something to look out for. I think there's a website out there for that. The last I checked, it was out there, but I couldn't get access to it. But if I can get that, I will pass it along to this group. And aside from that, that's all I have. I'm going to take it over to our planning intern, Catherine, to talk about the state long-range plan.
All right, hi, I'm Catherine. MDOT is developing a new state long-range transportation plan known as Michigan Mobility 2045 that aims to establish a vision and priorities for transportation in Michigan over the next 25 years. This is a federal requirement, and they are collecting public feedback on the draft from July 22nd to August 31st.
Thank you, Catherine. Then we got to introduce the new guy.
So in preparation for the 23 to 26, the 23 to 26 STIP, the statewide transportation improvement program, its public participation plan was just updated. It is out for public comment now. If you Google MDOT STIP, the page that you're taken to will have both the draft public participation plan for the STIP as well as a comment form, looking for people to provide comments based on what they read there. That public participation plan for the STIP will determine how we go about the next several steps of this fall through next spring of gathering our own statewide rural projects together.
All right. Thank you very much to the trio of transportation people. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
I've got one question, Terry. I'll take over for Hannes and ask about the funding from the bonds. Did that take place already? Or?
They are issuing them, I believe, twice a year. We had one round of bonds issued, and thank you for asking that. That's a question for sure. One round, I think $800 million was issued last year in August. I believe we just issued another round, I don't know the number, maybe $600 billion. In total, we have $3.5 billion in B of bonds, and we're issuing them slowly as the projects are rolled out. I believe there was one earlier this year. Obviously we're not rolling them all at once, otherwise it's kind of overload for basically everybody who has to do the work. And I believe there's another set later this year, if not really next year. But this program goes through 2024, so before you see all the bonds being issued, it probably won't be fully exhausted until early 2024, or maybe late 2023 at the latest.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely, good question.
Any other questions? All right, then we'll move to administration issues. Tyler?
All righty. For most of you, I think you've already filled it out, but we've got a form. We ask that you fill that out, providing your name on there as a voting member to the MACC, as well as alternatives, and then sign the bottom of that if you haven't done so already, and then turn that into Judy. If you have any questions on that, I'd let Judy or I know. So that will just ensure that we know who our voting members are and keep us all in line. Judy, you had a comment?
Question, I found the one forms for City of Holland and City of Zeeland. Did you get forms that we
Yeah.
kind of patched together?
Yep,
But, okay.
yep. Thank you, Judy. And then included in the pack is our financial report, as well as the executive committee minutes. I've been working with the executive committee on a transition plan, so I think we'll be discussing that and on the next item on the agenda here. So Terry, I don't know if you wanted to, I provided in the packet a letter of my resignation. I sent that out to the executive committee on July 1st of this year. I've been working with the executive committee on trying to look at different alternatives or options to fill my position, a possibility of a partnership with GVMC to kind of get us through the next 6 to 12 months, going through the TIP amendment process, or the 23 through 2026 TIP, as well as the long-range transportation plan. So we are weighing our options right now on that. Punkage has said that he would sit as the interim in that time being, but he also had offered, if anyone else was interested in serving in that position, that he would be happy to step aside.
Well, you know, what if the motion is denied to accept your resignation letter? I mean, what do you stay here then? Is that the deal?
Up till the 9th.
Yeah, okay.
So I appreciate the partnerships and the relationships that I've gathered over the last year and a half. It was a unique year for all of us, specifically myself moving up here during the pandemic. I appreciate you guys opening up your doors, letting me in, sitting down with you, learning about the MACC area. I love the people. I want to make sure that my family and we're going to stay here in West Michigan. I will be commuting into downtown Grand Rapids as I'm taking a position with the city there. So I appreciate those relationships, and I want to look forward to working with you guys in the future. Hopefully at some point maybe I can sit on a board or commission or something like that within the area. So again, thank you for everything that you've done for me and my family, and it's been a privilege working for the MACC. So thank you very much.
Well, obviously, Tyler, we wish you the best.
Thank you.
And we know this has become a stepping stone to working for the city of Grand Rapids, apparently. So, but anyway, no, we all wish you the best, and it was a pleasure working with you. Really has.
Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it.
We do have, according to the memo that Tyler has presented with us, we need to accept his resignation as executive director, provided on July 1st and effective August 8th. Is there a motion to accept that resignation letter?
So moved, Kevin.
Is that supported?
Can I add to that motion?
Sure.
To accept that with regrets.
Absolutely. Thanks, Howard.
Thanks, Howard. Appreciate it.
And that was who?
Howard.
Howard?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. We're ready for the post. Did we miss anything here?
No, we're good.
Okay. Tom Monk,
Yes.
thank you very much for hosting this month.
Thanks, glad to have you here. You wanted a little summary of what's going on here, is that right?
Absolutely.
Well, I didn't think anything was going on, and then I sat down and put a list up. And there's a few things going on. We're in the midst of the Critter Barn relocation, which is kind of a big deal for us, getting them off 16th Adams over on 80th and Felch. That should happen this fall. Their barn is up, and they're just doing a few other things at this point, so that should help with some traffic issues. We've got a couple of other developments, smaller ones going in. Harvest Fields, which is off of State Street, across from the high school. It's about 39 homes. It's being developed by Bauman Builders. There's a real small one off of Perry Court, off of Perry and Maple. It's before really large lot type homes. Bluff Lakes number 5 will be 26 new homes. And then Vriesland Crossings, right across from here, there'll be 22 condo units. So all of those are in the very beginning stages of happening. The co-op is going to be expanding here on the corner of 68th and Byron Road. They're doing some consolidations with their Hudsonville operations. So that is in the beginning stages. Near the hotel, my understanding is that Taco Bell and a Ziggy's Coffee is going to be going into that development. And then Ottawa County is working on their sand mine off of 88th Avenue. That, I think they've gotten most of their permits for that, but that should start soon. As far as bike paths and things go on, we've got a new bike path that will be connecting the Prairie Winds development just south of Byron Road to Byron Road to connect to all the trail systems. That is being staked right now. And we also have started a program to maintain the pathways that we currently have. We didn't really have one before, so we'll be doing a bunch of crack sealing and that kind of stuff this year. We also are going to be, they're in the beginning of reconstructing Pump Station 29, which is a sewer project that will be starting this year. It will be going on into next year. So those are the major things going on. There's a few other things, but we'll stop there so you can all go home.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Any member questions or comments? All right, then. I don't know if you're all aware, well, maybe not, but on the way here, or to and from Zeeland, there's an eagle's nest on the north side of the road. And I really don't want anybody to stop there because but anyway, you'll notice the eagles, they've been there for some time. As you go down the hill, there's a nest on the north side of the road. On the right side, there's a couple of full-grown eagles there, and I think they have some eaglets, two
Yep.
currently. Zeeland has now called them Zeagles, so I don't. They claimed them already. So, but anyway, it's really a neat thing, and you're kind of back off the road, which is good because I don't think people can get to them, but they're just a beautiful sight. But anyway, thanks again for coming. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is that supported?
Who was the first? Tom, and who's the second?
I'll support it. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Thank you very much.